Hey everybody, welcome back to Your Free TV. It is Thursday, December 11th, 2025. I'm so glad to be back with you here on the channel, and I'll jump in with my disclaimer. This video is for entertainment purposes only. It is protected by the United States Constitution, protecting free speech, as well as the Sullivan Act and reporting. It is not intended to bully or harass anyone, never to incite violence, hatred, or lawlessness of any kind. It doesn't give legal, medical, or financial advice, and there are further disclaimers in the description below. So I'm so glad to be back with you here on Thursday evening, getting this one up kind of late tonight. So much going on, so much news. We're going to jump in a moment. I always start by saying thank you so much to the people out there who support this channel. You make it happen, and I am so, so grateful, and I thank you. And of course, I thank my sponsors, c60evo.com/YAFTV. Please look at the two recent videos I've done with Chris Burrs. Just amazing what this miracle molecule does, made in the best lab in the world for producing carbon-60, so pure. They call it ESS60 because it is, the purest, basically, and used in all of the studies that have been done about carbon-60. So check it out below. Huge holiday sales, and I'm so appreciative that they sponsor this channel. So let's jump in with the news. And actually, while I'm talking about ESS60 and c60evo.com/YFTV, code YFTV for 10% off. What I love about this product, as much as it fights the big C, as much as it fights all the nervous system disorders, so many of these things, besides the shots and the geoengineering and the poisoning and toxins to us, is EMFs, and how much they are killing us. This product helps to fight EMF radiation of all kinds. That's one of the studies that were done that actually won the Nobel Prize. It's just an amazing, amazing product, and I'm bringing that up again because of what we're about to talk about, which is, of course, Trump has signed the executive order basically to create a framework, a federal framework to prevent states from regulating AI. And this happened after yesterday. He had all the tech bros in his office. And I'll just mention something here that I thought was very interesting, as one of them revealed to him that, oh yeah, we're going to have 6G any minute now. It's coming out just, next year it's going to be 6G everywhere. And Trump was like, oh, 6G? I thought didn't I just get 5G going? And it was very disturbing because he then goes ahead and signs this executive order on AI, which has everything to do with 6G, has everything to do with the massive space fence lockdown, the digital lockdown of our minds, of our bodies, the huge assault that's coming at us, and AI data centers representing that massive threat on the physical level, what it's going to do to our communities, to our rights, to our resources, water being huge. But as this guy said, oh yeah, we're going to have 6G any day now. Trump was like, oh, he's like, 6G, what is that going to see under your skin? That's going to see right inside you. And the guy's like, yeah, basically. And Trump's like, oh yeah, I'm kind of more a fan of the old style cameras for surveillance. And it was just so ridiculous to watch and so disturbing on so many levels. Then as, David Sachs and all these tech bros are, fast becoming in control of our government, what will be the laying out of technocracy to replace local governments. That's what this infrastructure will do as 6G is hurtling forward. And there are 6 bills in Congress to basically force that through to stop local governments having any control over massive 5G, 6G, whatever you want to call them, the weaponized infrastructure, okay, that is coming rapidly. And so this federal framework, it's like, no worries, we're going to protect the children. We're going to, just look at Australia, right? The ban on social media for children under 16 is based on the digital ID system, biometrics, all of it. Well, this is basically with the FCC, FEC, to obliterate local government's rights. And that's why we need to get active right now. And that's why I wanted to focus on that first in this video. And we'll see how quick we get through it if we can cover everything else, because there's just so much. We had, of course, Tyler Robinson in court today, smiling, as this very subdued show trial is going forward in the Charlie Kirk murder. Very Luigi Mangione style. Same playbook, same situation there. We'll hope to get to it, but there's so much else besides. The tanker, gold, looking like there's gold on that tanker from Venezuela. As I was reporting a couple days ago about the illegal gold mines that they're just stealing all the gold out of Venezuela, and so much more. Okay, but let's just dig in here on this, and I'll just comment early as I go forward. There's this movie Oblivion, from like a decade ago or whatever, Tom Cruise, and it's all about supposedly an alien war, right? That took over Earth, and you have Oblivion, him starring as a clone. Basically, he's the clone of the same man over and over and over, whose job is basically to man this desalinization plant that there's massive, massive, massive over the oceans, okay, that are just desalinating water, sending that up to basically power these huge AI infrastructures that are controlling the harvesting of all the resources of the planet. And he eventually finds out that he's a clone and whatever. It's a whole thing. But that's what we're looking at. I'm gonna talk about what's going on in Iran right now with the stealing of all the water there, and that's even before AI infrastructure and how they managed to do that, and how we are looking at just a huge resource steal here, and it's parallel exactly to natural asset corporations and NACs. It might as well be the same thing, except it's on steroids, and it's Trump that's bringing it in. And to take away states' rights and local governments' rights is 100% anti-constitutional, and 100% anti-states' constitution. So it's very dire and bad. And as much as we pray that there could be some wonderful AI that was just lovely and all the good stuff, just help you do this or that, and accelerate all these great things, and that is possible. Okay, but that's not something we can worry about later. That's what needs to happen in the beginning, okay, of all of this. But what we're seeing with the EO that went out today is that states who go up against the federal framework will lose their rural broadband, free internet broadband, whatever is free. That was put in under Biden. He did nothing. And now the rollout of the rural broadband. Okay. And this is, they'll lose that right to have that installed. And maybe that's just a really great thing. As 6G, what this guy was saying yesterday at the Trump White House was that, oh no, we're in charge. We're at the LA Olympics coming up next year. We're going to have 6G at the Olympics. And what does that remind you of? It reminds you of what happened with the installation of 5G in 2019, and what happened with the pandemic and a viral outbreak and the deaths of millions and millions, and how my brain works is, okay, so they put biosensors in everybody, and these nanosensors and the graphene and everything, and they basically all the people that have them in them, what 6G can do, okay, especially at an Olympic event, what it can set off for some sort of worldwide digitally activated viral pandemic situation. Okay, there's that. The nano interbody network of things, all of this, trying to get everybody, of course, as batteries plus receivers, transmitters of information, full on mind control, everything. Okay, that's what we're under threat of. And so watching this go forward, I just really had to focus on this today, because I just find it so incredibly disturbing. And so let's get into it. I watched a great video with Catherine Austin Fitts, who was talking with Rennet Senum, and she was the former mayor of Nevada City, California, who fought everything through the V, fought everything to do with EMF stuff and 5G, and she's just fantastic and gave us some great ways to fight back. But let's get into some of what we're fighting, because it's not just this executive order, it's that there's multiple bills, at least 6 bills in Congress that are already pushing these anti-local government laws that are really, really important now. And so let's look at one of them, HR 2289, the American Broadband Deployment Act. So when Trump says, oh, in his notes, okay, on the executive order, states that don't comply with the national rule book on AI will be not allowed to get their rural broadband installed. Yay. But the American Broadband Deployment Act, HR 2289, and there are petitions to stop this, which we need to sign. I'm going to link them below. Please act, okay? Because there's public comments allowed through December 30th, and they push the most dire and evil things in through the end of the year, especially through the Christmas holidays, to where people are kind of turning off for a while, just like, hey, could I just please enjoy some time with my family, celebrate Christ, have a break, have a holiday? No, this is where they do their worst. And so basically, this American Broadband Deployment Act is where it allows just the huge decimation of local government power to stop the installation of cell towers everywhere, everywhere. Basically, we've seen how they do the 5G with those extra little boxes. This is basically saying we need one every 400 feet. Nobody can stop it. And we have Senator Cruz, of course, pushing this, as he has been for forever, with the AI moratorium. He ended up voting against it when he knew it was getting him bad votes. And then they didn't get it again with the NDAA. $800 billion just passed with the NDAA today, and or 900, excuse me, 900 billion, almost $1 trillion. And there's a lot of nefarious stuff in there regarding all of this AI stuff as well. And so on December 17th, there will be the Senate hearing on all of this, and of course Senator Cruz will be there. And this really is about the federal government destroying local governments. So the AI question is one thing. The incursion on local government rights, our towns, our communities, our counties, our states, okay, is treasonous, in my opinion. It's treasonous. You can't do that, okay? And this is, everyone knows how much I love Trump on this channel, but this is literally treasonous activity to take states' rights away with something so massive, okay, so massive that it changes all of our entire lives, all of our everything, from our jobs to how we do life, to our access to what it will be, the digital ID, all of it. And so what we look at here is this this situation of these bills like HR 2289, the American Broadband Deployment Act, including in there is FCC rule changes, okay, Federal Communication Commission's rule changes that destroy local authority. They destroy notices to the public. The public won't be notified of any towers coming in to your area. And you say, well, that's not AI. Yes, it is. This is all the infrastructure they need for the AI deployment to roll out, and and the data centers will get into, which are massive for how they destroy. They look for low areas, valley areas where there's a water source, and they want to take the water, and it could, I'm going to get into what's going on in Iran right now, and Tehran looking at possibly a mass evacuation because the water has been stolen for industry, and the people are, there's no water. and it's across Iran. And you can say, oh, that's a desert country. Well, think of the people that live in the desert areas and the high desert areas of the United States. It's the same. And so basically, what this bill does, it also destroys um, the public's right to access over the right of ways, like all the public streets everywhere. That the public can't have any say on how those are used for the installation of 6G and this rural broadband or this broadband distribution deployment. That uh, no sensitive areas are allowed. You can't say, hey, there's a school here, there's a daycare here, there's a church here, there's all these things. Those things will be have no power. Okay, no historical rights. Okay, as far as, oh, this is a historical landmark, etc. That will be destroyed in this bill. And again, every 400 feet, every light post. So this is really huge, this HR 2289, and there are like 5 other bills as well. And we need to call the House immediately, 202-225-3121 for the House, and of course 2777 for the awful Mike Johnson, the speaker. And so we need you to take action on this. And I'm going to be linking petitions that, especially now through the end here, December 30th, these public statements going in there, we really need you to take action on this. And especially if you have people who are in your local government, in your town councils, people who are in these industries to speak out, especially, are really welcome. Okay, so as we look at this and going forward, yeah, sorry, okay. Children's Health Defense is putting out great petitions here. I'm going to link them below. And so we're looking at what is the rollout of really harming children, really harming animals, really harming birds and the pollinators, bees, etc. Basically, massive destruction of that if these go through, because it's all they're putting it all together. The 6G deployment of the Broadband Deployment Act, plus the AI being so massively funded, and it's international. It's international. So these companies with all the trillions that Trump is always talking about coming in, building their own power sources, that sounds great, but where's that energy coming from? And so the water's huge. And of course, nuclear reactors, all of this. However, what we're looking at is a massive depletion with water. That is central. And so as we look at all of this, I want to talk about a couple things here. We have 13 communities have fought back hugely, and these have been in valleys and areas where there's water sources, where the AI data centers really go in full bore. And what Rennet Senham is saying is that they have, and I'm going to link it below, this toolkit that they have developed called the North Star Data Center Policy Toolkit, where they've instruct people how they can basically fight these AI data centers that are coming into their communities. And one of the things they're saying is that you need to get the rules in place locally right now, immediately, to stop the AI senators targeting your communities. And what they do here is they give you an idea of what those rules can be, how you can actually use the people who have been working in your community for decades, especially the memory bearers, the older retired people, that can help you put in regulations to stop the AI data centers. And so I'll link that below. It gives instruction that is really, really valuable and really important. And so one way to fight it, they say immediately, is to get FOIA requests locally, to put out FOIA requests to know the finances of who's involved and who of your local, politician, your city council member is being paid off, what they're invested in, etc., so that you come to these meetings, en masse, and perhaps even create a fund to locally have a couple designated people who are watching these policies, especially the city planning council, right, the planning commission, about what is coming up, so immediately how to jump into action. But in my opinion, I feel like they've been using the migrant invasion, as the topic that takes over everything. Okay, while through the back door, what we have, of course, is this massive AI threat, but the digital space fence is even larger. That is being built with the AI data centers, and that we need to imminently, absolutely fight what will be, through the executive orders and this federal rule book on AI, taking over local government, um, with technocracy, with a federal technocracy that cannot be national. It can't, to say it's going to be American law, while all these data centers are owned mostly by either big tech that is internationally traded, or literally outside of the USA, is a giant joke, and it is not it's not a dark threat coming from behind. It is a massive, overbearing threat that is coming in really fast, and I find it extremely disturbing. I want to talk about here the situation of Tehran and Iran, about the water there, because I think that's one of our hugest threats, is the stealing of all the water. And while we see Gavin Newsom putting up, AI videos of Trump and Hegseth and Stephen Miller in handcuffs as he's pushing, he is the darling, um, ridiculously, of the World Economic Forum and everybody. They're pushing for 2028. They think they're going to be able to put Newsom in. He keeps using the Trump playbook to do these insulting, videos. And he will be, of course, the architect of our doom. But Trump is trumping him here right now, because as we saw, him, creating this executive order yesterday, putting it out today with all of the tech bros there. We have Time Magazine. They could have made Charlie Kirk Man of the Year, right? They could have done that. But instead, they name Architects of AI as the Person of the Year, right? And so this is a group of billionaire technocrats who are being named Person of the Year by Time Magazine, while Charlie Kirk's um, murder is becoming a show trial that is absolutely ridiculous, with Judge Tony Graff basically making it impossible to really watch the trial. You can't, it's getting worse. And I'm not going to go into that rabbit hole today. Tomorrow I will get more deeply into it, because it is so disturbing what's going on. However, we have Iran, and I want to cover this with the water threat and what it looks like when big government totally denies the people of all their water. We've been seeing it for decades. Okay, all the ranchers, farmers, all their water stolen for this or that pay for play. Whether it's a different, California, it could be, hey, all the water is going to this guy who is, just selling billions and billions of pistachios across the country, right? Every other aisle, okay, in the supermarket is pistachios from this guy, from this family that is paying off Gavin Newsom to give all the water, right? Well, that's minimum and tiny compared to what we're facing. So the decimation of the hundreds-year-olds farms and generations of ranchers and farmers. But in Iran, they're facing what they're calling water zero day. Okay, water zero day. There's no water in Tehran, and we're not hearing about this, right? 10 million people could be forced to evacuate because it is so dire, because of what the bot have paid for, IRGC and whatever the mullahs, the higher ups. getting paid so much money to funnel all the water into industry for steel. What was it? Steel and let me see here. Steel. What is the other industry? Sorry, I'm not seeing it right in front of me. But yeah, so basically what they did, and this has a lot to do with Russia actually, because the steel and the other things they're making, it's also going into munitions plants, creating drones and creating missiles and everything that's going to Russia. And so that's in there as well, and what's going on with Iran. So what we're seeing is that there's no water, there is no electricity without the water, and there's no internet without the water. And even this claiming like we're turning off the internet in Iran at various times of protests is actually because there's no water, there's no internet because there's no electricity, and the people are irate. Huge bloody protests have been going on for years in Iran to do with this in an area called Khuzestan, which is a huge oil-rich area where a lot of this industry is going forward. They have literally just destroyed farming, and they have been not the engineers who have been creating 600 dams in the last decade, 600 dams across desert Iran is they basically used very poor engineering to just quickly, how can they quickly divert the water into industry for basically what is the war industry. And what we're seeing here with President Pezeshkian, who was again the president put in after Israel, whatever, Mossad, whoever you want to say, killed the former president in that helicopter crash, right? They exploded and then it crashed, right? And now we get Pezeshkian, and he's basically saying, yeah, we're at 0 day water, and we have uh, the situation where the drought is so bad where the soil is now destroyed, and just think of geoengineering on top of it. So for future farming, it's already destroyed, and it's basically depopulating the rural areas, but there's no water in the cities, and the hospitals are closing down, the ICUs are closing down. It is dire what's going on in Iran to do with the water. They call it, the cause is the water mafia, and this is economic profit to give the water to, oh, it's concrete. Concrete is the other big mafia industry there going on in Iran, and steel corporations, and it's all about pay for play. Okay, in the government, it's all pay for play. And so there's a especially heinous dam called Gov't Dam built on top of like a salt desert, okay, where there was a river going through. And so what happened is this, by damming it up, they created this massive salting that spread across what was the most fertile farmland, okay, in Iran. So it spread across and it's destroyed the farmland for a very, very long time. And so that is what's happening. We have 70% of the population in Iran, that's 50 to 70 million people, okay, could be displaced if they can't find a solution for the water ASAP. And so that's what's going on there. And I think it's just very interesting and very important to understand that as rich and fertile as our country is, we've seen how it's already been decimated with our resources, and these AI data centers need more water than we can even fathom. Okay, than we can even fathom, and we don't have, Gaddafi's green book. We don't have, let's hit down to the deep, deep aquifers and really give pure, great, healthy, incredible earth. What the earth generates, this water that's created by God, this system to give us the purest water. No, it's all about, of course, groundwater and the depletion of it, and how this part of this AI data rollout and this federal control will be, of course, to disallow the states and the local communities to have proper control over their water rights. It's already been such a massive, massive fight. Fluoridation was bad enough, right? Lowering the IQ of Americans for the last many decades. That's, you know, child's play compared to the total stealing of the water by these foreign entities and technocrats from within the billionaire banker cartel that is international. And so I wanted to just really put that out there that we really need uh, people getting right on board with their public utility commissions in their area, find out what's coming near you, what regulations, what's going on, and to get in place ways to stop them with different measures. Again, as I said, I will be linking below the North Star Data Center Policy Toolkit, how one community was able to absolutely stop the AI data centers from coming in their area, and it outlines different laws that can be put in now by your local communities in order to stop it being attractive for AI data centers to come into your area by it being, very hostile environment for them, and there being multiple rules already in place locally, and that's so important. So that's kind of what I wanted to share today, and I think I'm going to go tomorrow for all the political news, and there's so much going on. I might mention a couple of things now, but I want everyone to go below to the description. Please sign the petitions. Please call your House member and Mike Johnson, 202-225-3121 for the House, for your representative, billblasterapp.org. You want to complain loudly about HR 2289, especially the American Broadband Deployment Act that steals all of states' rights and local community rights to stop their rollout of a massive digital space fence infrastructure, a 6G system on every light post, every lamp post, just everywhere, cutting down any vegetation that's in their way. Total control over public access ways, buildings, etc. Just unstoppable. So check it out. We need it to end. We need your input. We need your petition signature. So thank you for listening to that. And maybe I will just mention a couple things here on my way out today. It's going to be a shorter one. I don't have it in me to get into some of just the intense news tonight, but I'll be back tomorrow and we'll do a full lengthy longer video for TGIF Friday, getting into some of the evil news. But I will mention that one interesting thing that came by after I was mentioning yesterday about the massive Obamacare fraud. Of course, we had the failure of Chuck Schumer's, trying to get the 3 years extension on Obamacare today. And of course, the other side, we have the Trump plan being, citizens' health accounts, where they would basically put money into Americans' accounts to choose the health care they want, to spend it on your health modes of choice, which sounds fantastic, but you can never get it through because of our slim margin in the Senate and the House, and that we have the filibuster that will always prevent there being any great solution coming. And so we get the Government Accountability Office, okay, did a test here of the Obamacare, and I told you yesterday the Somali fraud is the tip of the iceberg, and Mike Lindell did announce his governor run today. Yay, fantastic. But we've got this situation of the fraud being so massive with Obamacare through the insurance companies like United Health, and the show trial going on with Luigi Mangione for the murder of Brian Thompson, the interconnections of the families like the Alessandro family, the Pelosi family, her family in Maryland, the massive, huge, giant, probably in the trillions grift off of Obamacare being so massive. But the Government Accountability Office under Trump sent out just 24 Obamacare requests, okay, with complete fake IDs, fake information, everything fake. And they were approved immediately, 23. Only one was rejected. Immediately approved with checks sent out immediately, okay, for these Obamacare dividends. So that's what's going on, and that's what Schumer wants, okay, is for that money train to keep going for these people, whether, you know, it's their kind of ride or die. Like they're going to collect as much as they can before they either go away because we actually win this fight going forward, or they're just hunkering down, keep taking the money, keep taking the money, keep killing the people with the bad, with the death care. Okay, so that's going on, and for that, we really need people to, you know, be aware, okay, that this fight, no side can win as long as we have the filibuster. And you know, the filibuster is going to prevent there being anything good happening in these next few years. The rest of Trump's, you know, presidency, because without having, you know, whether it's his appointments getting through, whether it is any good bills going through, we are screwed. So if you want to tell Thune how you feel about that, 202-224-3121 for your senators, but 2321 for Thune directly. That with the filibuster in place, with the blue slips in place, blocking the confirmations, we can't break through. We saw in Indiana today, you know, the failure of what was going on there with the redistricting, because they're all just corrupt. Our rhinos are this, you know, post-Bush neocon onslaught is really heavy and huge, and I would put honestly you know, the threat of that with TPUSA being, I believe, you know, for entertainment purposes only, part of that threat in that team, okay, that is anti-MAGA and anti, um, you know, basically constitutional republic, us gaining our power back and slipping back into the neocon, you know, Pence, Bush, Cheney realm. And so, uh, yeah, I wanted to mention that before I go. So I know this is a little bit of a bummer today, but it is so, so important. You know, we're looking at things like them trying to put out now a new this company called Armor Pharma, Arma Pharmaceuticals, Armor, wanting to put out a vaccine against fentanyl. Okay, that's what we need. We really just need a anti-fentanyl vaccine that basically just, you know, controls your brain. You know, it basically goes in there, shuts off all your receptors. Um, and so if you take the fentanyl, it won't kill you because your brain can't feel it, right? I mean, it's just so ridiculous and backwards and disgusting, okay, that we have this. They don't worry, Armor Pharma also has the methamphetamine and cocaine vaccines coming as well, and they have the fentanyl vaccine. It's not a vaccine, you know, the word vaccine is just, you know, it doesn't exist anymore for anything that's real. But in the Netherlands, they're having tests with this injectable, um, you know, brain blocker that they're going to, in the Netherlands, they have 40 adults in this test group, and it trains the brain to create antibodies to fentanyl, antibodies to fentanyl, antibodies to fentanyl. They just, words don't matter anymore, and they just keep throwing this crap at us, and it's so ridiculous. And so I'm sorry that it's more, you know, not more upbeat today. I have so much more good news, and unfortunately, that's going to be for tomorrow. It's getting this up later tonight, but I really wanted to put out there that we really need to resist the what's going on here with HR 2289, the American Broadband Deployment Act, because it is the gateway for then, as AI grows in its power, nothing, you know, it will see right into your house. The 6G will see right into your house. Nothing, no privacy whatsoever, even and especially in your brain. Um, Total mind control, complete access to your thoughts, your feelings, etc. It's the digital space fence lockdown on steroids, just nailed in. So, God always wins and we can always defeat it, but we've seen how hard it's gotten with the 5G, okay, to defeat the onslaught. And one thing that Catherine Austin Fitts was saying in this interview that I'm linking below today is how she's so glad to be back in Europe, because when she's in the US and she's from the US, from Tennessee, and that um, the EMFs here are so hard on her that she can barely handle it, can barely handle it. And, for those of us who live here and are dealing with this constantly, they're part of these bills that are going through are things like preventing us from hardwiring our computers. Okay, that they want to have new building where you can't have copper wiring, you can't have the things that you would need to hardwire your computer. Okay, that you can't resist this wireless technology being everywhere, inside you, outside of you. So I really wanted to stress that today. So please look at the links below and sign the petitions, call your senators, your House members, and locally get active with your government to preempt the data centers coming in, but also what's going on with this HR 2289, the American Broadband Deployment Act. So thanks so much for watching. We'll get into the broader news. There's so much happening. Tomorrow I'll be back and we'll keep on and we'll keep on. And if you want to help defend yourself against the radiation, check out c60evote.com/YAFTV. All the holiday sales are there. This really does help protect the body, brain, etc. from EMF radiation and all kinds of radiation, as well as everything else that everyone uses it for, which is basically inflammaging all of the chronic diseases, the Turbo C, all of it. So thanks so much for watching. If you found something helpful in this video and you want to support the channel, ways to do so below. And I know we will prevail. We are continuing to just remain in this fight, but we have to fight what is this massive assault on states and locals' rights. As this framework, federal framework, is coming soon for the AI control, we need to know exactly what's going into it. But so far, it looks very dire. So, sorry, it's a bummer. It's just real. It's reality. And what do? We take up our two swords, right? The two swords of Christ. We have the spiritual war and we have the physical war. And this is both of them. Okay, this is where you have, the satanic forces coming in, okay, to merge the physical and the spiritual in this digital assault that basically is this demonic bridge, okay, between the physical and the you can call it the metaphysical, but it really is the access into our mind space, okay, into our divinity, and trying to block our access to divinity. And I think that is really the main driver behind all of it, okay? The satanic force is to block our connection to the divine. So, not cheery, but the way it is. So, you are free. Maintain that freedom. Take action to do it, okay? Locally now. Sign the petitions. Stop the bills. And we need to really make a giant stink, okay, about the AI being given carte blanche to destroy our constitutional rights to privacy, okay, to everything. Privacy is huge in our minds, in our homes, okay, our neighborhoods, etc. So you are free, and I will see you tomorrow.